Welcome back to part 2 of this webinar series. Thank you for coming back. If you haven't done so, please like, subscribe, share, and also comment below. Thank you.
So far in your experience, in your many years of experience at a wedding, what is that unusual thing that you've come across? Can you hear me clearly? Or I can see you.
I can.
Okay. Is there anything unusual that you've come across whilst planning a wedding?
Unusual about what?
About the whole...
About planning.
Yes.
Well, what's unusual is no two weddings are the same. You find out something new every single time. I think that's unusual because you don't have samey weddings. Budgets are different. Surprises are different. Things that go wrong are different. Highlights and positives are all different. What's unusual? I think also what's unusual, when you go to certain countries, the skill sets and the standards of hospitality are very different, very unusual in terms of work ethics and stuff. So if you're planning destination weddings, be very careful. You might meet some very unusual and bizarre, you might experience very bizarre things. So do your homework. I would say, yeah, that's unusual. I mean, nothing else comes to mind, but if it does, I'll say it. I'll share it.
No problem. So I'm just looking at the time. Well, I realized when I started my Instagram live, I didn't really start it properly. But to anyone watching on Instagram, this is the webinar that I've been talking about. So it's on Zoom, but obviously interaction on Instagram will be limited because most of the talks are on the Zoom session. And I have with me Wurie of Mrs. Wedding Planner, and we're just talking about, if you were to plan your home wedding yourself, what do you need to be aware of? What are the things that you need to think about if you're planning your wedding yourself? And really just knowing what a wedding planner is, what a wedding planner does for you and what a wedding coordinator does. So I think, I'll probably just go next to the question that Tanisha put on, Rugie. So I'll just read that. So she's saying, I'm on a tight budget and not sure if I should hire a wedding planner or not. I don't mind making my wedding smaller if that makes it easier to plan myself. Would you say there's a threshold of number of guests or number of different vendors where I should definitely get a planner? Or what if the vendor also does coordination? Is it enough? What else can go wrong if the vendor is coordinating? Rugie, can you see the question, Rugie? Can you see in the comment in the chat box?
Let me see, I was listening to the question.
Oh, okay. Well, so it's quite a lot of questions, but so let me just start with the first one. So Tanisha is saying that... Pardon?
I heard what she said, that she's on a tight budget.
Yeah.
And she's asking what she should have a planner. As I said earlier, you don't have to have a planner. I think it's good that you're aware of what your budget is. As long as you're conscious of your budget and you're realistic, you can still have a great wedding. So I would say go for options that offer you value. So, some venues will say, oh, it comes with food, or maybe even if you want to have dry hire and have your own food, check the cost of the venue, for example. You're not going to fall in love with a venue for £7,000 and your budget is 15,000. You are in trouble because there's so many other aspects. And then also rope in friends that are photographers, people that you know that are good at what they do. That's another good idea. So I think absolutely you can actually plan your wedding without hiring a planner. A coordinator could be your best bet, on the day, people to just arrange things for you. So yeah, that's what I'd suggest. If you're on a tight budget, just get on the day coordinator.
Or even if not on the day coordination, partial planning. You mentioned you do partial planning. That's something I do as well. So with partial planning, if you need advice, if you need vendor selection, vendors recommendations and things like that, if you need help with reading your contract or, making venue choices, then yes, that's something you can think about if you really don't have the budget to go into having a full wedding planner. But again, if it's something you want to do, just speak to wedding planners and see if you can fit into your budget. Where you said, I don't mind making my wedding smaller if that makes it easier to plan myself. So I'm guessing what you're trying to say is that if you want to plan the wedding yourself and not hire a wedding planner, then you want to reduce the numbers of guests. From my experience, I don't think reducing the number of guests would make any difference if you want to plan the wedding yourself. Rugie, do you have any comment on that? Rugie?
Sorry, what was your question?
So Tanesha is saying that if it's going to be easier for her to plan the wedding herself, she doesn't mind doing that. And then by doing that, she would then reduce the number of our guests.
Yeah, sure. You can plan your wedding yourself. I mean, as I had pointed out, try to establish what your strengths are. If you're very organized with money, that could be a plus, because the budget is the ultimate thing. Maybe you could have a consultation with a planner to start with, so they can help you with one area. So maybe if you're not too sure how much things cost, they could try to do your budget consultation for you, budget management. Say, okay, roughly venues for a capacity of 150 to 300 cost about £3,000. If you're looking at cakes, you can get cakes for as little as £100 from Marks and Spencer's to about 3,000, 4,000, depends what sort of cakes you want. They can talk to you about photographers and how much they cost, because sometimes you see a lot of pricing for photographers online, but that has a lot to do with how long they work for. So you could see something really attractive, but turns out they're doing 4 hours. And if you're an African Caribbean bride or groom, you know we spend a lot of time on weddings. So 4 hours might be a bit of a challenge. So look at your own cultural setup and see what would work for you.
Okay. Yes, I think we've lost Rugie. Okay. So like Rugie said at the beginning, she's in Sierra Leone, so she's probably having network issues. So so Tanesha, making my wedding smaller, if that makes it easy to plan myself. Well, when you say smaller again, it really just, can everybody still hear me? I just feel like, am I still here? Please just give me a thumbs up. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't think making it smaller would make it easier. I mean, like Rugie said, there's so many things for you to just really think about to narrow down what is so important to you, you know, for the wedding. Sorry, Rugie's lost connection, so I need to send the link again. I'm so sorry. Just bear with me, please. There was a power cut. Just bear with me, please. I'm just going to send the link quickly to Rugie. Okay, yeah. Oh, and I have to go back. Sorry, yes, power cut in Africa, so she's going to dial in again. So moving on to your question, you said, would you say there's a threshold of number of guests or number of different vendors where I should definitely get a planner? I think this just goes back again to the previous answer. There is no threshold of number of guests, really. I mean, you can have 50 guests, which you might say that's easier to plan. But again, there's so many things that you have to think about, even for 50 guests, you know, guest list, the venue, you know, questions to ask your vendors and all of that. And then if you're then talking about 200, 250 guests, that then becomes more difficult, because then you have to manage the guest list. You have to think about sitting plan if you want to have one. So all of that you have to really think about. So again, Tanesha, I would advise that you have a consultation with a wedding planner and really discuss what your budget is. What is this? If you have a specific figure for your budget, then, you know, really talk about that budget, and then also really know the numbers of guests that you're thinking of having. That would be really, really good to know. What if the vendor also does coordination? Yes. So if you hire a wedding planner and you hire the service as a full wedding planner, then yes, coordination will be involved. So the wedding planner would be, like I said earlier on, the wedding planner would start planning with you from the beginning right to the end of your wedding. You know, wedding planner is your friend, basically. So, you know, you have them, oh, you met venue doing coordination. Okay, well, thanks for asking that question, because that's one thing I was going to talk about. So, so venue coordination is totally different from what a wedding coordinator does. I'm so sorry, Rugie's having issues. I'm going to be going off IG Live again. Just bear with me, please. I'm not sure why she can't join in. Sorry about this. Okay, I'm just going to tell her, if she can't dial in again, I'll just have to carry on. I'm just going to send another link. Okay, I'm just going to carry on. Oh, okay. Hi, Rugie. Oh. Okay, yeah, so venue coordination. So when, Rugie, you're on mute, by the way. I can't hear you, Rugie, sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. So yes, venue coordination. So when a venue says they offer coordination, just bear in mind that what that means is that the venue is basically just going to coordinate everything just concerning the venue. Adiola Otara, do you mind just messaging Rugie for me, please? Because I can't hear her and I think she's trying to talk. Rugie, give me thumbs up if you can hear me. But we can't hear you, so no. Okay. Yes, I think I'm just going to stop looking at Rugie and just keep talking. So yeah, so with the venue coordination, so what it means is that when you hire that venue, when you're getting married at your venue, so what they're basically going to do, so if it's a dry hire venue, they're just going to make sure they come on the day to open the doors of their venue, and then they come on the day to make sure that if they're giving you tables and chairs, it's all there. So basically everything just concerning the venue, that's what they're there for. And they're just they're making sure that everything is running on time. So if this venue is providing food for you, they'll make sure that, yes, food comes out on time. So that's basically what a venue coordination is doing for you. They're not going to manage your wedding at all in terms of your guests, in terms of your vendors. They're not going to do any of that. And there's been a lot of misconception around that as well. And, when people say, oh, I have a venue coordinator, but they didn't really do much for me, but that's because they're not really managing your wedding. They're just managing the aspects to the venue themselves. I hope that clears your question, Tanisha. I'm just trying to see this. What if the vendor also does coordination? Is it enough? What else can go wrong if the vendor? What else can go wrong if the vendor is coordinated? So are you saying what else can go wrong if the venue is doing the coordination? Is that what you're saying? Rugie, are you back on? Can you speak?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes. Well, that's the network with Africa.
Yeah, I mean, most venues offer an event manager, but you should be very clear that they don't really want to be managing your vendors. They are essentially responsible for what happens at the venue. They don't really get into the details of,
how your suppliers deliver on what they've promised. They're not going to be like that. I think wedding planners will get really involved. So again, it's all down to managing expectations, you knowing what to expect from your event manager, that she's going to allow them access to start. If they need anything at the venue, should provide it for them. She's that support network for you on the day. But when it comes to intricate details, I don't think the venue manager, unless they're incredibly nice, but sometimes they would police you. They will let you know what time you're supposed to leave the venue and in what condition you have to leave the venue by. So it's that kind of relationship. It's completely different. They're not fully responsible for everything that happens on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not responsible for vendors. They're not responsible for your guests. You know, if if things are going on with your guests, if anything is going wrong, they won't do anything. And like Rugie said, if they're extremely nice, then maybe, but most venues won't do that. So it's always very good to be mindful. So what would I need to do myself if the venue is doing food, drinks, and coordination? Well, Tanisha, what would you need to do yourself? It's basically everything else: managing your budget, you know, finding your vendors, managing your vendors, and on the day as well, managing your vendors and managing your guests. So there's a lot to do.
Yeah, and even with your food, even if they're doing your food, you have to go for tasting, and then you give your own feedback whether it needs tweaking. Do your people like a bit of spice? Is it too bland? Do you want a bit more seasoning or more? You know, you have a lot to do. There's food tasting, there's menu in how you present your food, so it doesn't look like a lazy effort. So there is a lot that goes along with. You don't just leave it to the plan. If you do, it will look like a packaged wedding. It will just look like there will be no personality to it. You can still have your wedding, but it would have no personality. And if you don't mind, then it's fine.
Yeah. And it just goes back to the start. What is what is important to you? You know, what is the key element for you? What is true to yourself? Tanisha is saying maybe I will elope. Well, you could elope to Africa.
She wants to do what?
She wants to elope, she's saying. I don't know.
You can come here, you can have a beautiful wedding. Let me show you what you're missing out on. But then there might be a power cut at your wedding.
Well, that's the thing. If you have a wedding
let me show you, Tanisha, what you're missing out on. You could have a wedding here. Well, let me see. Can I even do it?
Well, you did it, yeah. Yeah, so you could have a wedding there.
I'm going to show you all of it. Hang on. Let me just cheer you up.
Well, so thanks, Rugie. We're getting a tour of a venue in Sierra Leone. So if you ever think of getting married in Sierra Leone, that's an option for you. But just be mindful of power cuts, you know. Have a backup, have a generator.
So Tanisha, I can take you up on your offer. You can get a wedding here for £10,000.
Thanks, Rugie. Lovely.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Thank you. Thanks, Rugie. Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, that was for Tanisha.
Yeah. She's saying thank you for answering the question. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the time now. Does anybody have any questions? Would you like to ask your question live, or would you just want to put your questions through? And Rugie, is there any final words, anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I want to share a final word before everything goes off. Marriage is a beautiful thing. I know what you're going through right now is very difficult, and some of you have challenging budgets, but there are lots of people like Tobi, myself, you know, you can call up wedding planners, you know, they don't always have to plan your weddings, and just have a genuine chat. We always want to help. And I like that you're being honest with yourself, you're being realistic. Try to enjoy it all. Focus on what's important. Keep your numbers small. You can have a beautiful wedding with 50 guests, at best 100. Just be realistic. Look around your local community for nice halls, you know, golf clubs. the most unexpected of places. Restaurants right now, post-pandemic, they're going to be so desperate to recoup their losses. They're going to be desperate to get back on the grind. So take advantage of it. Send proposals to all these different hospitality spaces. You are at an advantage right now. So that's what I'd say, and enjoy it and still believe in love. And I absolutely believe in weddings and marriages. So go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's so true. Believe in love, believe in marriage. You know, the life after the wedding is what you should be thinking about.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
No, I was going to tell them that I've been married for 17 years. So it actually does work. Although we're not speaking right now, my husband and I, but yeah, we work.
Well, congratulations, Rugie, married for 17. Well, I've been married for 8 years, yes, and it's a wonderful experience. You know, you have your ups and downs. There's no way you're going to say yes, it's going to be beautiful all the way around. But yes, so what you should always be thinking about is the life after the wedding. You know, that marriage, that beautiful union between you and your partner is what you should always be thinking about. And right now, whilst you're planning, you know, what is really, really important to you. And like Rugie said, things are going to change in 2021. We're going to see a lot of different things just happening. We're going to see venues, you know, making due to things that they never said yes to before. We're going to see restaurants being open for weddings. So do you have a restaurant in mind that you love to eat at? You know, you can have your wedding there if possible. Ceremonies, you could hold your ceremony somewhere. So it's all just going to be different in 2021, and just keep your mind open for anything to come. You don't know, keep your mind open for whatever that could happen. So just be really, really mindful of that. So yes, thank you all for spending your Saturday afternoon with me and Rugie. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a monthly series of webinars where I'll be bringing different professionals, and we'll be talking about, you know, difficulties, challenges faced when planning a wedding. So the next one is going to be in January. And you know, I was thinking about this and I just thought, I don't think Saturdays would really work very much anymore, because now that, well, I think weddings events are sort of going back now. So I feel like people are going to be wanting to go out on Saturdays or do more things. So I'm going to be doing this on Sundays now. There will be every third Sunday of the month. And the next one is going to be on the 17th of January, where we're going to be talking about budget planning for your multicultural wedding. Why multicultural? Well, as a Black person myself, most of my clients are multicultural, so that's why this is going to be the topic of the month in January. We're really, really going to go down into how to budget plan, what is specific to you, how to prioritize things, and how to make sure you don't lose focus on your budget. So this is what we're going to be talking about in January. So please look forward to that. And thank you very much for joining. I hope you found this really useful. Please, at the end of the webinar, I think there's probably going to be a survey link. So please do share your feedback with us. And also you could go online on Zoom, or I mean on Instagram, and share your feedback. But yes, thank you very much for joining this Saturday afternoon. And Rugie, thank you. I don't know if Rugie is still here, but Rugie, if you're still here, oh yes, thank you very much, Rugie.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your wedding. Good luck, all the best. I'm sure it's going to go really well. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So have fun, enjoy your Christmas, whatever it is you're doing. Lockdown, families or not, but have a great Christmas, everyone. Thank you.